By and by, I found myself paying special attention to one cock, about 100 yards away, or a little more perhaps, for by contrast all the other songs within hearing seemed strangely inferior. Its voice was singularly clear and pure, the last note greatly prolonged and with a slightly falling inflection, yet not collapsing at the finish, as such long notes frequently do, ending with a little internal sound or croak, as if the singer had exhausted his breath. But it was perfect in its way, a finished performance, artistic and by comparison brilliant. After once hearing this bird, I paid little attention to the others, but after each resounding call I counted the seconds until its repetition. It was this bird's note on this morning, and not the others, which seemed to bring round me that atmosphere of dreams and fancies I exist in at early cockcrow. Dreams and memories, sweet or sorrowful, of old scenes and faces, and many eloquent passages in verse and prose, written by men in other and better days, who lived more with nature than we do now. Such a note as this was perhaps in Thoreau's mind when he regretted that there were no cocks to cheer him in the solitude of Walden. "I thought," he says, "that it might be worthwhile keeping a cockerel for his music merely, as a singing bird. The note of this once wild Indian pheasant is certainly the most remarkable of any birds, and if they could be naturalized without being domesticated, it would soon become the most famous sound in our woods. To walk in a winter morning in a wood where these birds abounded, their native woods, and hear the wild cockerels crow on the trees, clear and shrill for miles over the surrounding country, think of it. It would put nations on the alert. Who would not be early to rise, and rise earlier and earlier on each successive morning of his life, till he became unspeakably healthy, wealthy, and wise?" Soon I fell into thinking of one in some ways greater than Thoreau, so unlike the sky-minded New England prophet and solitary, so much more genial and tolerant, more mundane and lovable, and yet like Thoreau in his nearness to nature. Not only a lover of generous wines, that mark upon his lip is wine, and books, clothed in black and red, all natural sights and sounds also filled his heart with pleasure and solace, and the early crowing of the cock was a part of the minstrelsy he loved. Perhaps when lying awake during the dark, quiet hours, and listening to just such a note as this, he conceived and composed that wonderful tale of the nun's priest, in which the whole character of Chanticleer, his glory and his foibles, together with the homely virtues of Dame Partlet, are so admirably set forth. And longer ago it was perhaps such a note as this, heard in imagination by the cock-loving Athenians, which all at once made them feel so unutterably weary of endless fighting with the Lacedaemonians, and inspired their hearts with such a passionate desire for the long untasted sweets of security and repose. Is it one of my morning fancies merely, for fact and fancy mingle strangely at this still mysterious hour and are scarcely distinguishable, or is it related in history that this strange thing happened when all the people of the violet-crowned city were gathered to witness a solemn tragedy in which certain verses were spoken that had a strange meaning to their war-weary souls? "Those who sleep in the morning in the arms of peace do not start from them at the sound of the trumpet, and nothing interrupts their slumbers but the peaceful crowing of the cock." And at these words the whole concourse was electrified, and rose up like one man, and from thousands of lips went forth a great cry of "Peace, peace, let us make peace with Sparta."